What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Skilled Apple, and today, April 26th, Wes, co-creator of Friday the 13th the game, has released the stats of all the Jasons, or at least all the Jasons we know about for the time being out release. All the stats have been shown, and I'm going to have a link to the forum post in the description down below, so if you guys would rather like a written version or whatever, that will be there for you. But if you'd rather have a video version, then I'll shut up and, well, I won't shut up. I'll just keep talking. You know what? Whatever. We'll give you the stats, starting off with Jason Part 2, the first Jason on the list. Now, what's really neat is, first of all, you can see his stats on the screen, or, well, you can see his perks set up, strengths and weaknesses and whatnot. That is his stats. So it's not like the counselors. I guess I should make that clear. It's not like the counselors where the counselors have, 10 luck or 5, butt scale. I don't know, like, butts are a skill, alright? Just ask Wes. But, no, these guys, they just have strengths and weaknesses. So, luckily for us, Wes actually on the forum post tells us, what these things do for the strengths and weaknesses. So, I'll be able to actually explain that to you a little bit better, and I'll give you my opinions on it if I have one. So, here we go. First of all, can run. Obviously, we don't have to talk about that. If you couldn't figure out what can run can be, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, he can run. He doesn't walk. He does walk, but he can, you get it. Alright? Second thing, traps. So, what this actually means is that J2, or Jason Part 2, if I say J2 or J6 or whatever, that's just referring to the part that he is. J2 starts with more traps than the others, and as of right now, obviously this can't change, but as of this post, that number is 6. So, he will have 6 traps to start, and before we even go any further, if it's anything like the beta, first of all, running is nice to begin with, but 6 traps and being able to run, whew, that sounds good. Now let's get to the next part. Morph. Faster cooldown, so he can morph more frequently than other Jasons. So that's how he gets around the map, obviously. So the quicker you can do that, the more ground you can cover. Very, very good for basically puppy guard in the phone box without quite puppy guard in the phone box. So that's really good to look at. Let's look at his weaknesses now. We see shift, defense, and water speed. So let's take a look. Slower cooldown and the ability of shift. So what that means, a shift is basically, it's hard to explain this actually. You know when you kind of like, you move quickly, when you shift as Jason, I don't know how to explain that. But basically, he does that slower. So that is definitely a drawback that you have to take into consideration. But remember, we do have those extra traps and the quicker morphing, so maybe that will make up for it. Who knows? Defense. This Jason has lower HP and lower chance to successfully block attacks. So what this basically means is he's probably going to get knocked out a few times easier, especially against those high strength counselors. I imagine they'll give him a lot more trouble. And I don't know if the HP, well, I'd imagine it does, but I don't know for sure if the HP directly correlates to if Jason dies or not. We still don't know how Jason dies, but he apparently can. So you got to take that into consideration. So less HP, less chances to successfully block attacks, and water speed. This Jason is very slow in the water. So that's obviously a drawback, but at the same time, I didn't find myself in the water too much in the beta, and I just want to point out that in the water, I feel like the counselors are also at a disadvantage, because you got to remember, those counselors burn stamina really, really quickly, and they're really, really loud, even the high stealth. So in the water, I think that's negligible. I think this is a good setup for this Jason. That's, in my opinion, this is a really good setup for this Jason, and I think it's definitely going to be something to mess with. Next, we have Part 3 Jason, and Jason, this is where he starts getting his cool mask. You guys recognize this mask, right? Yeah, if you don't, I don't even know you. I don't even know you. But anyway, let's take a look right off the bat. I mean, other than him looking just straight up awesome, he has 3 strengths, 3 weaknesses like all the other Jason, and starts out with can run. Once again, if you don't know what that means, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Weapon strength, pretty self-explanatory, but we'll go over it obviously. This Jason can deal more damage with his weapon against counselors. Now, how much more damage isn't obvious, but we can go ahead and assume that if it takes 4 melee hits to down a counselor, it probably takes 3 melee hits with this Jason to do the same trick. Or maybe something as simple as, if you go through cut yourself out of a window, maybe it's 2 hits then instead of 3. Who knows, so on and so forth. All we know is that the weapon strength is higher. He will be dealing more damage than the other Jasons that do not have this perk. Third, grip strength. Now this one is actually harder to wiggle out of his grasp. And what I mean by that is, you know, when he picks you up and he grabs you by your throat, that means it's going to be hard to get out of his grasp at this point. So it's not going to be, oh, I'm just going to slam space button or whatever it may be and get out of it right away. No, this Jason's going to make you work for it. Obviously a really good pro. His weaknesses are stun resistance, sense, and stock. And I don't know why, but I really like the art they use for the sense. I don't know, it just looks cool. He's like, where did he at? No. Anyways, so his weaknesses are stun resistance to start off. This Jason gets stunned more frequently than others. Now, actually, I was thinking with the defense that I assumed that kind of was the same thing as the stunning, but I guess now that we see stun resistance being less, stunning and the HP are probably not the same thing. So that's cool to note. So yeah, he gets stunned more frequently than others. So what I said about him getting knocked out actually would apply to this Jason. So if you see a, you know, strength 10 character or strength 8 character, anybody with above 5 strength character, you might want to not run in there, you know, balls deep if you see him getting ready to swing his baseball bat, because you might just end up on your ass. So that's good to note, that you can't just go balls deep. I mean, you're still Jason, but you might want to be just a tiny bit more aware of that situation, because you will get stunned more frequently than others. Next one is sense. Once sense is activated, it doesn't last very long for this Jason. So sense obviously helps you figure out where the counselors are. So this one's not going to last as long. So you better make it work, and you better make it work quickly. You know what I mean? So acquire your targets, destroy them, Jason style. And of course, stock. So similar to sense in that it doesn't last as long. So your stock will not last quite as long as other Jasons. Once again, make it count. Don't waste it. You know, you can't be spamming that stuff. And that's Jason Part 3. Man, he looks good. I love him. Now we got Jason Part 6. My personal favorite Jason. I'm always, well, when I am asked about it, I always say Part 6. So this is the one. Just look at him. Look at him. I didn't even care. I didn't even care. Just look at him. Anyways, so his strengths are throwing knives, sense, and shift. And weaknesses, defense, can't run, and morph. Now let's take a look at his strengths. First off, throwing knives. This Jason starts with 4 knives. Other Jasons have to find them during a match. So I'm just going to go ahead and, well, I have been doing them more, but I want to go right down to the weakness of can't run. Obviously, he can't run, which the other Jasons that could run have that advantage. This one cannot fast walk, so he walks really slow. But he's got 4 throwing knives, which will obviously even the odds if you can hit the counselor with them and slow them down. So that's really cool right off the bat. Let's go to sense. This Jason's sense lasts longer once activated, so he can really scope out what's going on. That's really, really cool and really good for him. Once again, especially with the throwing knives, you can definitely see what's going down with your throwing knives. Might even help you acquire your target while they're moving at a distance. So very cool combination right there. And faster cooldown on shift. Now, because you can't run, you're going to need to rely on this shift, in my opinion. This shift is going to be what separates a bad Part 6 Jason from a very, very good Part 6 Jason. Because what you do with your shift is going to determine what they do or how they get away. So make sure to keep that in mind. That's really good. Weaknesses, of course, the defense, like we mentioned. This Jason has a lower HP and a lower chance to successfully block attacks. Once again, that means he probably dies quicker than the other ones. We still don't know how that's done, but I'd imagine that's what that means. We already talked about can't run. And then morph. The cooldown for using this ability takes longer, so this Jason can't morph as often during a match. So his playstyle, he's not going to be teleporting around the map a lot, but what he is going to be doing is basically stalking his prey, using his sensibility to really, really get a feel for it, use his throwing knives, and of course, using your shift to close distance, and you're going to need to really set up some flanks and really trick the counselors. I'd imagine this is one of the higher skill gaps just compared to the first two we talked about. One of the higher skill gap Jasons right here, because you're not going to just automatically know how to use your throwing knives. It does take skill. It's going to feel like a Black Ops 2 throwing knife. So keep that in mind. And that's Part 6 Jason. Damn, he looks good. Next up is Part 7 Jason. This is the Jason that was also in the beta, but he really didn't get much love. And I'm just going to point to the can't run. And I know that Part 6 Jason has that, but Part 7 Jason, because of the way the beta was, it really hurt him. He couldn't break through fences. Stamina Vanessas were a thing. So Part 7 Jason was just to challenge yourself. But let's take a look at the strengths and weaknesses and come in here knowing that the game has changed since then. And this is a totally different game than the beta, alright? So let's take a look. Sense obviously will be cooling down quicker. Once again, he will acquire his targets. That seems to be a running trend with the can't run perk, so that's really good. Water speed, he's very fast in the water, slightly faster than the boat. That's actually in there, so I guess he's slightly faster than the boat, which is good to know, I guess, but very fast in the water. Once again, though, I'm not sure how it will work in the game. In the beta, at least, in the water, if you were in the water, you were begging to die. So maybe this will help, but I feel like it already was this way, where if you were in the water, you were gonna die. But I guess if you're this Jason and then you see him in the water, they're definitely dead. Like, it's 100%. So if you're going against this Jason, make sure you don't decide to go for a swim. It will not end well. Grip strength, it's harder to wiggle out of the grasp. Once again, just like I believe it was J3 that had that. Yeah, so J3 had this also. He's gonna, once he gets you, he's holding on tight. He's not gonna let you go. He's never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around or desert you. I probably butchered those lyrics, but you know what I'm talking about. So this Jace is not letting go. He has a hard time letting go. He's one of those people. So definitely really nice to have that. Let's take a look at his weaknesses. He can't run. That was his biggest drawback in the beta. He has only 2 traps he can use, which is insane because J2 or Jason 2, he actually had 6 traps. So I'm imagining that the default is 4 traps, but this Jason only has 2 traps. So not only can you not run, and not only do you have water speed, which is kind of questionable, I don't know, you actually have 2 traps. So you don't even have the opportunity to flush them into a trap, really, unless you are a master on these 2 traps. So keep that in mind. And slower cooldown on the shift ability, which means he cannot close distance just as well as the other Jason. So I want to put it out there. Part 7 Jason, just looking at what I've seen so far, looks like the weakest link. Again, I mean, his sense is quicker. That's cool. But his water speed's quick. Okay, that's whatever. Grip strength, okay, that's, you just gotta catch him. You know, that's the problem. You know, you gotta catch them all, go Pokemon on this shit. But his weaknesses of not being able to run, not being able to shift, and only having 2 traps, this Jason lacks serious mobility. So I'm gonna say this is the Jason you use if you want to challenge yourself, and this is not the Jason you use if you plan on smacking pub lobbies. But obviously, these are just speculations of mine. I'm very opinionated, you guys know that. But in my opinion, Part 7 Jason is going to be the weakest one. But we will see. And let's head on to the next Jason. Alright, we got Part 8 Jason looking at the screen right now. We got different ones. Water speed, destruction, stock, and weaknesses. Sense, can't run, and grip strength. Now let's take a look right off the bat. Water speed again. Once again, that's just quicker in the water. You can catch counselors in the water. And by the way, I didn't say it last time, but your water speed is pretty quick at the default rate. I'm just saying, it's pretty quick. Like, you're going to catch a counselor even if they're swimming pretty quickly. But this one is definitely going to catch a counselor even if they're moving pretty quickly. Destruction. Reduced amount of hits. Reduced amount of hits to break doors and walls. I like that. That is awesome. So basically, you know, if it takes I think it was 3 hits to destroy a door, I imagine, obviously, it's going to take 2 hits to destroy a door. If it took 3 hits to destroy a wall, it takes 2 hits to destroy a wall. That doesn't sound like a lot, but there was a lot of times where counselors would escape by literally that 1 hit. So, with this destruction strength, he's going to be like, surprise, motherfucker, and he's going to get you. It's going to be really good. So, I like that perk right off the bat. And this Jason can remain in stock longer than others. That's what that last one, stock, means. So, he can stock a little bit longer than the other guys. Very cool, very good to know. Once again, I don't actually know what the stock completely is, but once I do, I'll probably be able to update it. But as of right now, I don't really know what the stock does. I just know that it's going to be badass. So he can do it a little longer. Weaknesses. Once sense is activated, it doesn't last that long. This Jason can't really sense too long, so you got to make sure you use it right. Don't be wasting it or spamming it. Make sure you use it when you think you should. Can't run, just like J2 and J3. And I believe J7 can't run either. So obviously that's a drawback. Once again with the water speed, it's like, whatever. But hey, he does have stock, so that might make up for it. And grip strength, counselors can break free from this Jason's grasp faster than others. What this basically means is when you grab a counselor, you kind of want to make sure you got space to execute them ASAP, right? So if you're grabbing a counselor and there's just stuff everywhere and you can't actually get the execution, it might be better to just let them run a little bit more and then grab them. So you got to get a little tactical with that, or don't go for the exotic kills. Just get what you can get, or you just smack him around a few times with your fire axe. Who knows? But that's this Jason in a nutshell. I don't think he's going to be bad. We'll have to see how he does, because water speed, in my opinion, is questionable, but destruction sounds really good, and that stock is really good. His really drawback here is can't run and grip strength, but we'll see how that works in the full game. I think he does have a chance of being good, though. Next up, Part 9 Jason, and just look how creepy he looks. It's so weird, man. It's just so, it's so weird. But anyways, Part 9 Jason, we got strengths being shift, stun resistance, and stock, and his weaknesses can't run, less HP, and traps. So let's take a look. Strengths, faster cooldown on this ability, on shift that is. Sorry, I'm mumbling all over the place. Basically, he can use the shift to get around quicker. Really good to obviously catch a counselor off guard and set up ambushes and stuff like that, but very quickly. It's not Morph. Morph is the teleport. This is the one that's like the short range, quick movingness. The one that you use to get the kills. Stun resistance. Basically, if you smack this Jason with the frying pan, you're going to be in the dying pan because he ain't going to fall for that. Or over. He ain't falling over either. You're just dead. You fall. Don't do it. Stun resistance. Really good. Stock. This Jason can remain in stock longer than others. Once again, another great strength. So this guy's got really good strengths. 3 really good strengths. Shift, stun resistance, and stock, I would argue, are really, really good strengths. Weaknesses, can't run. That sucks. Like J2, J3, J7, and I believe, what was it, J8 we just talked about who couldn't also run? So it looks like it's a trend that these guys can't run. Once again, like the movies, you didn't really see Jason run that much, if ever. So less hit points. We got Jason has lower HP than the other Jasons. This is pretty self-explanatory. He's going down quicker. Like there it is. Like from a shotgun at least. I don't know. I don't know how you kill him, but this guy's gonna die quicker than the other ones. And traps. This Jason only has 2 traps to use. Once again, that's a drawback with the can't run. But with the increased shift, increased stock, and the stun resistance, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think that's a terrible drawback for him. And, you know what, I do want to question something, though. See, defense, the Jason has lower HP and lower chance to successfully block attacks, but this one just has lower HP. Now, I'm confused. Does this mean that it's just HP? Is it the same amount of HP as the defense nerf? I'm confused, because if that's the case, then this Jason is superior than that Jason in the sense that this is just less HP and not less chance to block hits. I'm not quite sure. I'm hoping someone can clear that up, though. As it stands, that's what it is. Anyways, that's Jason Part 9. Pretty creepy to look at. Just look at it. It's weird. Zombie Jason. But anyways, that brings us to the last Jason. I mean, last but not least, I mean, just, oh my god. Oh, yeah. The Savini Jason. Look at him. It's just so good looking, bro. Like, I don't even, the pitchfork, the fucking design is perfect. I mean, everything about this Jason is perfect. But, we gotta look at the perks. Now, let's take a look. We got shift as a strength, weapon strength, and destruction. Weaknesses, water speed, can't run, and grip strength. Now, let's take a look at the strengths one more time. The shift, obviously, you can close distance quicker. Very good for just about any Jason, so really good. I like this. Weapon strength, this Jason is going to deal more damage than the other ones. Once again, 4 hits becomes 3, or 3 hits becomes 2. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember what it is. I think it might be 3 or 4. But just imagine 1 less. And then destruction, 1 less again on the doors. So honestly, you're just a really strong Jason. That's what you need to picture, basically. This Jason has got maximum firepower, alright? Walls, faces, anything, they're getting wrecked, alright? Weaknesses, this Jason is very slow in the water. Not a huge drawback. Makes sense, too. This dude is made of fire. Like, obviously, he probably don't like water too much. So, slow in the water. Once again, though, I don't think that's going to be a terrible weakness, because if they're in the water, they're just begging to die anyways. And because you have shift as a fast strength, I mean, you could just sit there, wait for them to choose which side they're going on, shift to that location, and be like, hello, and just end their lives. Can't run. We know what that is. Looks like that's a very common weakness, so we know about that. And grip strength, it's hard to wiggle out of this Jason's grasp once he grabs you. Well, actually, it says it's harder to wiggle out of this Jason's grasp. he had the information there wrong. It's a weakness, so they can wiggle out quicker. Hopefully he fixes that, not to cause confusion. So yeah, they can get out of your grasp quicker because it's a weakness, which means you really need to make sure wherever you are, you definitely can execute them immediately. Going off of the video where they actually show him execute AJ, it was like 6 seconds that she tried, and he still got the execution. So I take it back. Maybe grip strength weakness isn't a terrible thing. Because I remember in the beta you could get out in literally like less than 2 seconds, but it looks like in the full game that might be like 5 or 6 seconds. So even with this weakness, he might not be terrible. And the other Jason, I don't remember which one I said it for, who had that grip strength weakness, might not be as bad as I thought because of that. I didn't even think about that until I was looking at him. So his real drawback is he can't run. That's it. His strength is shift, weapon strength, and destruction. I mean, I gotta tell you, this Jason is, wow, this Jason's gonna be really good. This Jason's gonna be really good because with the weapon strength, the destruction, and the faster shifting, my lord. This, I can't wait to see how good he performs in the game. And I got a secret to tell y'all. It's a really sad secret, but I got a secret to tell y'all. I actually don't have this skin, and it makes me sad. It makes me so sad I will not have this skin because, man, oh man, does he look good. But anyways, guys, that's all the Jasons. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember, we're going to be streaming 24 hours, hopefully, as soon as this game releases on the 26th of next month. I can't wait to play it. I can't wait to see you guys and talk to you guys. If you have any comments, concerns, or you just think I'm stupid, let me know in the comments down below. Drop a like, subscribe, and I love your face. I'm going back to the Friday the 13th Discord. That's where all the cool people hang out. Seriously, though, find an invitation to that Discord. It is the best Discord. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.